Hi and welcome to lesson number 7 in the education topic. This lesson we're going to look at educational achievement and we're going to look at something called external factors. So this lesson we're going to look at how things outside school can affect your achievement. So as key terms for this lesson we're going to have the key term of material deprivation. Hopefully as we come through the lesson you'll be able to fully understand what this means. So as with all the previous lessons, feel free to work through at your own pace. Pause me, rewind me, sounds weird, but use the video in the most helpful way to you. So, as a starter, what things outside of school do you think are going to affect your GCSE results? So I've given you some pictures to give you some ideas of things to think about, but what kind of things could you come up with? So try and come up with a list or a bit of a mind map. So I've put some pictures on there. Have a little think. So I'm not going to give you any hints yet, so have a little think, what's going to affect your GCSE results, do you think? Obviously the big one might be a global pandemic, but I don't think the textbook thought about that one. Right, so to do this lesson, I would suggest doing a double page and splitting it into 6 boxes. You don't have to do it this way, you can do it on the computer as well if you want to, but these are your 6 key categories that are going to affect your achievement within education. So you've got socialisation, material deprivation, adults' attitudes, language, job market and education policies. So as we go through each one of these, what I'd suggest is adding some key ideas to your boxes. You can add pictures, notes, whatever works for you, do that. So first one there is going to be socialisation. So we did this right at the start of year 10. So socialisation then is your parents, wider family, and these are giving you your norms, values, and this is taking place really early on and is called your primary socialisation. Now, within the family then, they teach you what is right, what is wrong, and how to share with others. So, different families, different social classes, ethnicities will socialise their children differently. So this is all going to have a potential impact on your education. So, some questions to get you thinking would be, do you think your socialisation is going to be different depending on your gender, perhaps ethnicity or social class? And if so, how do you think that's going to be different? Now, if we were in the classroom, obviously we'd have a bit of a chat about this, but it'd be weird for me just to chat about it on my own. The second one is, what could I do with Poppy, who is currently downstairs, being a little toddler terrorist? What could I do with her to make sure that when she starts school in a few years, she's going to have the best start possible? So what things could I do with her that you think is going to be really good? And 3, do you think your primary socialisation, so how your family have brought you up, do you think that really will affect your GCSE results? Yes? No? What do you think? So, number 2. So, material deprivation. This is basically a lack of money, so you're not able then to buy the things you need for school. Or it could be not having the right home environment for you to achieve at school. So it says a lack of money can mean cold, overcrowded homes with an inadequate level of nutrition, as well as a lack of books and equipment. It could even be things like going on trips and things like that. So it can make it difficult to study at home, but also maybe lead to poor attendance through ill health. So as an example, how could an overcrowded home, so you've got lots of people living in your home, maybe you don't have your own bedroom, don't have your own space, how could that potentially impact on your education? So, have a little think. How could that lead to, education failure? Interestingly, when I was looking at failure or GCSE results bad and things like that, it's mostly boys that was coming up, which I found quite sociologically interesting. Anyway, number 3, adults' attitudes. So, this is basically how much encouragement either parents give to you. So if your parents are giving you lots of encouragement, that can obviously have a big impact on your educational success. But also, Ray looked at the impact of teachers. And if we have high expectations of you or have stereotypical views about you, that can have an impact. So for instance, it says stereotypical views on social class and achievement could have a negative impact for working class children. Hopefully, you might know what self-fulfilling prophecy is. This is the idea that, no, Graham, do not climb out of the window. Oh, stupid cat. Apologies. Yes, the cat tried to climb out the window. But I'm not doing another take of this. Well, I'm just going to keep going. So anyway, Self-fulfilling prophecy is the idea that if you're constantly labelled as a bad student, or you're weak, or that you're not going to do very well, you might just give up, and then you kind of fulfil that prophecy, that label that people have about you. Then that's going to have an impact on your meritocracy. So the idea that, if we all work hard, we can all achieve. Well, maybe not. If the teacher thinks that you're not very able, and then maybe puts you in bottom sets, well, that's going to have an impact. And then that's going to impact on social mobility. So you're not going to be able to move up the social classes or do better in life. So as a kind of thinking question, who is responsible when you achieve well at school? Is it you? Is it your parents? Or is it the teachers? Who gets the praise for when you do really well at your GCSEs? And then to counter that, who's responsible if you fail? If you all fail your GCSEs, which is obviously not going to happen, but if you did, who is responsible? Are you responsible for that? Are your parents responsible for that? Or am I responsible for that? So have a little think. Who do we put blame on in society for those things? Number 4, language. So your language can affect how well you do. So obviously, it's massively important depending on, how you use language in education as to whether you do well. So, for instance, children from different ethnic groups where English might not be their first language initially can be at a disadvantage when they start school, because if you think about it, they're having to learn everything in a foreign language. Can you imagine if you all had to sit your exams in a language that you'd only just learn, all of your exams? That would be quite difficult. But studies do show that eventually they do catch up and then perhaps do better in society in the long term. And in the case of gender, girls are obviously more advanced with their language skills. They're much more able to ask for support, seek help. So they generally do better in school because of their language skills. So there's a mini activity. Think about, how would you ask for help from a teacher in a formal way? So think about maybe as an email. How would you ask for help in a formal way? And then maybe, how would you ask in a kind of informal way from your friend? So if you're asking them for help. And again, those that can use language in a more formal way and are able to kind of switch between the formal and the informal generally do better in education. And we'll look at this when we do social class. Job market. So today there is quite a competitive job market. There are lots of jobs, but not enough for everybody. So those that want the more desirable jobs, there's got to be a bit of competition. Particularly, there's more opportunities for women now. They've got aspirations, so men are having to compete now against women, which they didn't previously have to. And while you might go, that's good for everyone. It makes boys step up their game. Well, for some, there's this idea of a crisis of masculinity, where they're like, I don't know what it means to be a man anymore. And they adopt something called a fatalistic attitude. That's the kind of like, what's the point in trying? Nothing's ever going to happen. Being really down. Because they might not see the point in educational qualifications because, the jobs that they would have done, they might not exist anymore. So men that would have gone in traditionally, like manufacturing jobs and things like that, they might not exist. So, that's going to have a massive impact on males within education. So the evidence then is that changes to the jobs market has had different impacts on different people. So it's made women more and girls more ambitious and want to do well in education, whereas it's had maybe that ambition for women has had a negative impact for men. And finally, number 6. So number 6 is about education policies. So this is all about the government having impact on what we do in school. So the government has obviously changed a lot of things in recent years. So they've removed modular exams. So you now have to sit all of your exams at the end of year 11 rather than doing them as you go. They've also got rid of things like coursework at A levels and coursework at GCSE as well, and controlled assessments for most subjects. So this is going to have an impact on certain people. Also, there's been a massive expansion in like sixth form and university and things like this. So more students now are going on to post-18 education and continuing. So as a kind of thinking question, who do you think has kind of always benefited from coursework? Who does better at coursework, and why do you think they do that? So just as a kind of final, check your knowledge, make sure you've understood what we've done this lesson. So I'd like you to have a go at the following 3 questions. And again, if you want to email me, then you can. I do like getting emails. So, number 1, identify and explain 2 ways material deprivation could impact on your achievement. Number 2, how could language impact on education achievement? And number 3, as a recap on what we did right at the start, identify and explain 2 functions of education. So again, feel free over the week to email me any questions, any queries. I'll keep doing the videos because I think they seem to be going down quite well. But if you've got any comments or any ways to improve it, please let me know. Hope you're all doing well. I'm missing you all lots. And sorry for the Graham interruption. Bye.